Okay, in this video I'm going to make a tower using a driver spline. This tower is going to have slabs and bulkheads, so I'm going to take this line here and rename it to be the driver, because everything is going to come from this line. Taking this line, I can right click and clone, and I want to do a reference, and this time the first thing I'm going to make is the slabs. The slabs are now reference copy, so they have a grey line here. I'm going to add a bevel to that, and the bevel will allow me to make both a slab and a bulkhead at the same time. So here we've got our bevel. The first level that I've put on it is -0.6 because I'm going in the downwards direction. At level 2 I'm going to do an inset of -0.15, and at level 3 I'm going to go minus a whole meter. You can see that better if I turn on my F4, my edged faces, and that lower piece is representing the bulkhead. So that's the slab layer. If I come back up here to the driver spline, I can make another clone of that. Right click and clone, and another reference, and this time I want this to be the glazing, so I'm going to call it glaze, and I am going to add an extrude to that one. So just an extrude, and that extrude will be 4 meters, which is pretty much the height floor to floor, and I'm going to untick cap start and cap end. At the end of the video I will show you how to put a transparent material on that. For the moment we can just right click and go to the object properties and just make it transparent or see-through for the moment, just to demonstrate. Our third line of this tower is to right click on the driver spline again and clone again, and this time we're doing a reference that is for the mullions. For this one we will need to add a quantify mesh, which is just QU quantify mesh. Oh, we're on the wrong one. No, my apologies. I needed to add an extrude before that. So we will just go back. We'll have to go back down under the line. So I'm clicking onto the line and adding an extrude. Pushing that up to here because we actually want the quantify to sit over the extrude. We don't want the line through the middle of the quantify, so we will come back up to this quantify and increase the percentage until we get lines. Now the interpolation of this spline is impacting the division of the windows. It's not an enormous amount of things we can do about that. We won't worry about it for the moment in this video, but we'll deal with it later on. Once we've done that, we can add a lattice, and that will be pretty odd looking, so we will only do the struts, and we will do the struts at 0.2. You can play with the amount of sides or do a bunch of other things. If we bring up the sides, maybe we'll bring this radius down to 0.1. So that gives us the start of a single floor of our tower. Now it is reasonably procedural, so if I wanted better interpolation on that spline, I could come back to the driver and I could increase that interpolation through there. So I could bring that up to 12. but as you can see, that will also impact the division of my windows. Okay, so then we want to come to our tools and we want to do an array. We need to actually select our objects first. So we don't need the driver spline, just the glazing, the mullions and the slabs. And we can then come to our tools and array them. The amount that we want to array them in Z is 4 meters, because we have a 4 meter floor to floor. We're only doing a 1D, but this will give us the floor to floor, the number of floor count. So if I've got 20 levels, and we also want to keep it as a reference in case we want to do something else. We can do a preview then, and what that will give us is our general tower outline. Beyond there, we can then also add modifiers to individual parts of that tower array. Okay, so we've got our tower array here, and that is all based on that procedural line. So if we were to go back to that driver spline and make modifications to it, the entire tower would update with that. Always a bit risky, this one, but yeah, there it is, updating. Beyond there, we can actually kind of go into our left view just by typing L. I nearly always turn my grid off, and F3 will bring back my edged faces, and I can start to do some other modifications through the middle of the tower. So that could include something like, in left view, if I don't know, select a bunch of floors through here and add an FFD, maybe a 3 by 3 by 3, which puts, you can see this grid of points on here. If I take the middle control points, so I select these middle control points, and using my scale, I can scale, I might have to rotate around a bit, I can scale through the middle. Not the most beautiful of towers, but you can see how it works. Okay, thanks for joining.